Hello, this is Ronald E. Bell, and I'm running to be elected to the Sacramento City Council for South Sacramento. We call it the chocolate side of town. They call it District 8. Born and raised right here in Sacramento. Went through the entire Sacramento Unified School District educational system. Graduated from John F. Kennedy High School. Man, I loved that school because it was brand new when we got there. They didn't want too many black people there. Went on to the military, got out of the military, applied to the University of California at Davis, obtained a Bachelor of Science degree in sociology, and returned to my community with my educational degree to see what I could do to improve not only my life, but the lives of my neighbors and my neighbors' children. I saw long ago that many things were going to occur that was going to put the black community in a state of emergency. And as many of you, I'm sure, know by now, last year there was the shooting of Stephon Clark. And that, to me, was the culmination of a number of things that kind of led up to that. As everyone knows, the black communities are over-policed in this country. So it was just a matter of time before what was happening nationally occurred in our little old town of Sacramento, and that is a black unarmed youth shot down by the police. Having known that we were going to end up in these kinds of conditions, I began running for this office 9 years ago. I felt that the representatives for the black community were not doing their job. They were being paid good money, but they were not doing what they were being paid to do. And so I used to sit in my armchair complaining, and then a voice spoke to me one day and said, "Why don't you stop complaining and get up off your butt and do something?" And so I learned how to register to run for public office. A lot of people don't even know how you do that. And so I did my research. I found out what I had to do. And it ain't cheap, and it sure wasn't free. I thought it was free. But I paid the money, and I ran for the city council for the very first time against a gentleman who currently occupies that seat. He has done absolutely nothing for the chocolate side of town, the 8th district. Well, I don't think it's fair to say he's done nothing. He did paint all of the electrical boxes along Meadowview and Florin Road, so it did help beautify the streets. But in terms of changing and impacting the lives of black people, nothing changed. And so I find myself now running again to be elected as the representative for District 8. My platform starts with accountability. I believe that everybody should be held accountable, including myself. And in fact, accountability will begin with Ronald E. Bell. And that accountability will go on down the line. One of the reasons I want to be on the city council is I think I can change the way in which the police see, view, and deal with the black youth in my community. One of the major things about accountability to me is if a police officer kills a human being, that police officer is no longer entitled to wear a firearm while on duty. I understand the police unions. They don't feel we should fire policemen for justifiable killings, if there is a such thing. But if in the event an officer does kill a human being, a citizen, he don't get to wear his firearm no more unless he's in an active firefight. Then he has every right to defend himself and the lives of anyone else who might be in jeopardy. But to just shoot off, in this particular case with Stephon Clark, 2 officers fired 20 shots at an unarmed young man. That's just poor police training, first of all, and what's indicative of the fear that many policemen patrol the black community, and at the slightest drop of a hat, they are ready to shoot their way out of supposedly dangerous situations. My second platform is economic development. And what does that mean? That means that everybody in the community is taken care of. There are no big I's and little U's, but it means that as the representative, you manage the district so that everybody at some point comes into contact with you as their representative, presents their problems, and you as their representative solves the problem. The city councilman's job is to solve all of the problems in that particular community. It's a very small area, really, relatively speaking. So economic development is inclusive of the social welfare of each and every citizen. Economic development is inclusive of starting new, not only black-owned businesses, but just business, period. I've developed a relationship with Silicon Valley. One of the things I intend to do is to bring Silicon Valley to South Sacramento. We've got plenty of room for them to build a little institute of higher learning. Also, fairness and diversity. I'm big on fairness and diversity. People always ask me, define fairness. And one of the things I have found out in my years of living is that if nobody else know the definition of fairness, black people, we know what's fair and we know what's unfair. We can look it in the face and say, that's not fair. And I think in order for us to accomplish fairness, we got to do just the way we do our children. Yes, we have favorites, but at the end of the day, each of them receive the same amount of attention, the same amount of love, the same amount of care and concern. And we promise our children, just like I promise our community, that one of my #1 priorities will be the safety and security of your children. So fairness and diversity. Diversity. It's inclusive, again, of the entire community. People speak to me about black people being the smallest minority in South Sacramento. And I understand that and I agree with it. All across this country, every immigrant that have ever come into this country has gone through the black community. And at different states of time, they have outnumbered us. But America allows them to just pass through our community and finance them out of our community. And we just sit back and wait for the next wave. But now what's happening in Sacramento, the immigrants who we've allowed to come into our communities, who have been exposed to black culture, they like our communities and they now want to have a bigger voice and a bigger say in our communities. Even though all around them are black monuments that commemorate the achievements of black people. Currently in South Sacramento, one of my favorite places to go is Martin Luther King Jr. Library. It's a little old bitty small library, but the fact of the matter is it's called a Martin Luther King Jr. Library in my neighborhood. And then I went to school with Dr. Cornell West. His mama, I know her, they named an elementary school called the Irene B. West Elementary School after my good friend Cornell West. We ran track together at Kennedy High School. If that ain't enough, one of my favorite TV shows, Star Trek, the black dude, you know, LeVar Burton, they opened a brand new park, and guess what the name of that park is? LeVar Burton Park. And we can keep on going. We've got the Rosa Parks Junior High School. These are all black monuments in a black community to commemorate the achievements of blacks, not only in Sacramento, but throughout this country. I'm a student of Sam and Bonnie Pannell. Sam Pannell was the very first city councilman to represent the 8th District, the chocolate side of town. And he began a work that started to make our black kids and their families proud to be African Americans. Of course, the Samuel C. Pannell Community Center is the jewel of South Sacramento because of the work he did. And when he died, suddenly his wife Bonnie took over and continued the vision that she knew her husband had for the black community in Sacramento. And in a conversation I had with Bonnie Pannell, I was a young minister. The Lord had called me to preach, and I said, I want to start a church in that community center. And she said, let me see what I can do. And within 6 months of that conversation, I held my first church service in the Sam Pannell Community Center. And 16 years later, we still were having church services in the Samuel Pannell Community Center. We also conducted gospel crusades for 19 years inside that same community center. And this is where people know me from. Clear as a bell. A lot of people, when they see me walking down the street, they may not know my name is Ronald Bell, but they'll look at me and say, clear as a bell. And that's because our ministry was called Clear as a Bell Ministries. And for 19 years, we served the community. We fed people. We housed people. We rescued young girls from Stockton Boulevard. So I'm campaigning now. I'm campaigning to continue the legacy of the Pannells. The Pannells were good people. Their families and their children grew up to be good individuals. And the vision that Sam and Bonnie had for the 8th District, the chocolate side of town, was economic black empowerment. Sam wanted the 8th District to be filled with businesses whose owners are African American. A very simple thing. And here's the thing that a lot of people don't seem to understand about the 8th District, about the chocolate side of town. They didn't want black people in East Sacramento. They didn't want black people in West Sacramento. There were a few people already in North Sacramento. So Sam Pannell was able to have them give us South Sacramento. It was where everybody went to fish and stuff. Nobody wanted to come out there to South Sacramento. But you fast forward to 25 years later, South Sacramento District 8 is the jewel. You hear me? The jewel of the entire city of Sacramento. New development is coming. We know that they are currently getting ready to build 5,000 brand new homes in the 8th District. We already see them putting the big old power poles along 24th Street corridor, because that's going to be a major thoroughfare into the chocolate side of town, the 8th District. So all new development is going to occur in the 8th District. And the most important thing that needs to occur in the 8th District is we need to have a leader who's for the people, who's by the people, and who represents the people. I've been a grassroots advocate, and by that I mean I've been down and dirty, man, right along with everybody else struggling, trying to make it from day to day in the 8th District. I know their wants, I know their concerns, I know their cares. I care about their children. And as a leader, they will come first. I have no special interest. I've spent my own money, which ain't much, to campaign. And I laugh because I see all these signs of my opponents everywhere. And every time I see one of their signs, I say in my mind, ring the bell 2020. One thing we already know is where the next homeless facility in the city of Sacramento is going to be placed. And we know it's going to be in the 8th District on the chocolate side of town. And I have, throughout my campaign, called these places an oasis, because my vision for the homeless is to build a magnificent, luxurious facility, something that if a person were to drive by it, they would say, now I know that's not a homeless facility, when in fact that's exactly what it would be. The program I developed is an 18-month program that'll get a homeless person through our front door and out that same door in a year and a half. And that person will be employed, and that person will either have a home, getting ready to move into a home, or get into an apartment. They will no longer be sitting on the streets. One of the other things that's just extremely important to me about the 8th District, the chocolate side of town, is economic black business development is a key thing for me. I think that what needs to happen is we need to not only connect and keep in contact with the Black Chamber of Commerce, but I would encourage them to come out to the 8th District and open up a satellite office so that the residents of that community can come knock on your door and say, hey, I got an idea for this business, and bounce it off the Black Chamber of Commerce. Maybe they just might have the perfect contact for that individual, because what I'm running into are a lot of black business entrepreneurs, some who know which way to go, some who don't know which way to go. If the Black Chamber of Commerce set up a satellite office in the 8th District, they would know where to come, and they could get the kind of assistance they need. And it's not a lot that many young black business entrepreneurs are asking for. They're not asking for millions of dollars. They're just asking for somebody to listen to their idea and think if it has any sort of legs in which it can get a foothold and thrive. And that is one of the most important things for black businesses anywhere. A black business has to thrive. And how do you make a black business thrive? First, you make it become something that nobody can live without. I chuckle when I say that, because as an African American, there are certain things I just couldn't live without. I couldn't live without my wife's potato salad. My wife makes the best potato salad in the whole wide world. There is no way in the world I could live without my wife's potato salad. There are other things also besides food that black people need. And I think a sense of care and concern from others who have gone down their same path and achieved success. And so we need a group of achievers that these young black business entrepreneurs can go and just run their ideas about. We need a black think tank as well. I've heard of all these universities that have a think tank. UC Davis has a think tank of Mensa scholars. We have some of the most intelligent men, women, and young girls and boys. We need to recruit them to do nothing but think. And we need another group in which they can bring that ideal to fruition. That's all it takes. It's not going to require a whole bunch of money, but once an ideal has been birthed and we give it off to the next group who will nurture it and grow it, it begins a cycle of success for not only one black business, but the next black business and the next black business. I think to have a black think tank, and this is not to the exclusion of any other ethnic group, but here's the problem. We are the customers of every other ethnic group, and I think it's time we start going after their customer base to get them to come and participate in our businesses. And our businesses can be a myriad of things. You know, in this country, if you come up with an idea that people want and desire, it will make you rich. And that's got to be the ultimate goal, to get rich and bring some other people into your circle of influence. Finally, I just want to touch on economic development once again. Every business needs startup money. I want to get together a group of black millionaires. I know we got some. Sacramento has more black millionaires per capita than the city of Sacramento. A lot of people don't know that. I would like to ask them to look at some of the ideals that I've heard young people speak on and see if this is not something that with your resources you could help them get their ideal into at a stage where it's being developed into something that is real. And not only will you be compensated, but you will also help a young entrepreneur get started in life. And how hard can that be? Some of them I know. Should I drop a name? Let me just drop one name. Because I went to Kennedy High School. My cohort, the class of '69 at John F. Kennedy High, included Dr. Cornell West, his brother Clifton West, another gentleman named Terrell Clark, another gentleman named Gregory Orr. He was the quarterback of my football team. His son, many of you I'm sure have heard, has been in the news lately. Chris Orr, the former principal of Christian Brothers High School, who was unjustly terminated. These people are not poor people, and they are for economic black empowerment, which again was always the vision of Sam and Bonnie Pannell. And that's where I'm picking up at. I'm picking up their vision, and I'm going to continue along the same road that they've already carved out for me. All I've got to do is just follow their road, and it will lead us to black economic empowerment. So, having said that, I love y'all. Ringthebell2020.com is my website. If you have any other question, check out my website. I've touched on a lot of things today, but my website, I try to post all of my platform and views there for people to go to and just go through each and every one of them. It's really, really important. This vote on March the 3rd is one of the most important votes in the city of Sacramento, and I'm asking you to vote for Ronald E. Bell. I just want to help our people move forward in the 21st century, and there's so much available for us. And I see it. I got a platform. I got a vision. I know which direction I'm going in. And I just need you all to vote for me and help me continue the legacy of Sam and Bonnie Pannell. Ringthebell2020.com is my website. Please go there. And don't forget, vote for Ronald E. Bell.